All right, so here we go again. Hopefully the audio is now working. Let's jump right in. I am telling you below that triangle ABC is equilateral. So you should be thinking, okay, I know that means all three congruent sides and all three congruent angle measures. And if they're all congruent, and we know that the angles of a triangle add up to 180, what is the measure of each of these angles? Hopefully you're thinking 60 degrees for all of them. Oops. And there's my equilateral triangle. Next, if we were in class, I would tell you to construct the altitude, but this does not have a piece of paper, so let's just draw the altitude. It goes from vertex C to the other side. Make sure that it's perpendicular to the opposite side. That's what makes it an altitude. Okay, so now I'm going to get into creating the special right triangle. So right now you should notice that we have two right triangles, and they are congruent by one of many reasons, but you could do side angle side or angle side, any of those. So the one I've now highlighted is a right triangle. And we should note that this angle up here, the 60-degree angle, has been split in half, so this is 30 degrees. So now the highlighted one is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now, just because it's going to make things easier, I'm going to say each side of this equilateral triangle has a length of 2 units. And that should mean that this side has been broken up into 1 unit and 1 unit. And what I'm going to ask you is, how would I find the height of the altitude? Hopefully you're realizing it is a right triangle, and when we have right triangles, we can always do Pythagorean theorem. If you set up your Pythagorean theorem, you should have 2 squared, because that's the hypotenuse, equals 1 squared plus x squared. If I solve this, okay, I subtract the 1 from both sides, I end up with 3 equals x squared. X equals the square root of 3. So that means that the altitude here is the square root of 3. Okay? So that means just in this case, the side lengths are 2, 1, and radical 3. But for any 30, 60, 90 right triangle, the sides will be in that ratio. So let's sum that up for you. If I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, anytime I have that, so if I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, the ratio of the sides will always be across from the smallest angle is the smallest side. This will always be 1 times a constant. The longest side, the hypotenuse, will always be 2 times that constant. And then the longer leg will be a rad 3. Okay? Now, of course, the side lengths are always going to change depending on what your A value is, but the ratio will always be this way. Let me jump into, I'm going to do 2 examples like yesterday. You probably saw if you watched the one without the audio, but let's jump in. So if I start here, across from my 30-degree angle is always the 1A side. The hypotenuse is always 2A, and the hypotenuse is always across from the 90-degree angle. And then the longer leg is A rad 3. So, started with this one because it's easy. Look, they're showing you A is equal to 8. So, if I want y is 2 times A, which means it's 2 times 8. So y has a length of 16. And x is A rad 3. And once again, since we know that A is 8, I get that x equals 8 rad 3. Nope, not what I meant to do. I meant to highlight it. Okay, on to a more challenging one. I'm going to jump down to number 5. It's still going to start the same way. Across from the 30-degree angle, I have 1A. The hypotenuse is 2A. And the longer leg is A rad 3. So I'm going to have to start here so that I can solve for A. Let's do it. If 12 equals A rad 3, I should divide both sides by rad 3 to isolate the A. Now, I could say that A is 12 over rad 3, but as you learned from yesterday's lesson and the day before, usually they want you to rationalize it. So, to get rid of the radical in the denominator, you multiply by rad 3 over rad 3. So you will get, and remember you can do that because rad 3 over rad 3 is 1. So I'm going to get 12 rad 3 over 3, which simplifies to 4 rad 3 equals A. Now, if x just equals 1A, x is going to equal 4 rad 3. And y will equal 2 times 4 rad 3. So y equals 8 rad 3. Sorry, I jumped all over the place there. You probably might have to watch that one a couple of times. If I get time later, maybe during nap time, I will post some work of me going through some of these other ones like I planned to do yesterday, but the audio wasn't on. Hopefully that helps. Always email with any questions. Thanks, guys.